jeez.
Do you hear yourself and hear me?
Should I move this or right?
Yeah, move it up. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Hey, what's up?
Hi,
yeah, Red River Podcast.
Pretty sick. And you know what? I've been on his show before, and it's a fun time. I think the show that I was on, maybe once or twice. I know we talked about the Metallica shows once, and I think we also talked about. It was definitely a horror episode.
Man, I wish I would have prepared. I wish I would have prepared for this. I didn't know I was going to get quizzed. I really don't remember. I know you were on twice, and we definitely talked about Motley Crue, and we talked about horror, and I mean,
It's my forte. So,
yeah, we kept it in the wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah, you have to, man. I mean, I know my shit when it comes to my shit. So I mean, like that's what you got to do. I remember though, you put like Bill Paxton from Frailty in one of the pictures, like promoting the show that I was on, if that sheds any light, but I don't remember.
I remember the picture, yeah, for sure.
That was
great
cool.
movie.
Right?
I don't
Very
know.
underrated. It's not talked about much.
I'll tell you this. All right, so when it comes to Frailty, I think that was 2002, and I think that was the first movie that Bill Paxton directed, R.I.P. Amazing. The amazing Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
That was one of those movies that... I ignored. There was a lot of movies that came out around that early 2000s era that I really I don't know, it was such a bad time for horror. And then I remember 2010, they talked about the best movies of the last decade, and Frailty kept coming up. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, could I curse on
Yeah, please.
I'm like, what the fuck why does this movie keep coming up? And then I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, this movie is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, but Powers Booth, he was in it.
Yeah.
And like
Matthew McConaughey.
It's without anything like giving it away or whatever. It deals with the sins, the 7 deadly sins, and then like the son. It's really a twisted tale, and like the ending is like one of those like holy shit kind of type things.
Yeah, great, satisfying ending for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't seen it, definitely go check out Frailty. That's a good one. But you were right. Like the early 2000s were weird for horror. I don't know many great ones that came out in that era.
I think it was like a post-Scream type thing. So Scream was 96, and it was like it was like Appetite for Destruction basically. And then after that, there was just a bunch of like knockoffs or like albums that were good but just not as good as that album or movie. So Scream just knocked it out of the park and took it into like a very like young universe, like like the meta thing, and it's like, hey, I know I'm in a horror movie and all this other shit. And sometimes it worked, and sometimes it was just terrible. Like, I mean, you could go through the Final Destinations or the I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. I kind of like though. I like the Final Destinations.
They're not bad.
They were cool.
They're not bad, but like I was already like we're kind of like the same age, so I saw those movies and I was just like, whatever. It was like okay, and then I ignored the Final Destination movies. And one day I was at the Velvet Lounge. Shout out, R.I.P. the Velvet Lounge in Stony Brook. And it was on like a Halloween night, and the DJ was playing all death scenes behind him as he was DJing.
Yeah.
And the log scene came up.
Sick.
And I was like, yo, what is this? And someone said Final Destination 2, and I was like, I thought that movie like was going to be complete like kid garbage.
No.
And I was wrong. So
I like Saw. Saw I gave up early on. Like I stopped watching all those.
I was in.
Are you?
Yeah, I've even watched even the latest one was great.
With Chris Rock?
No, so he did Jigsaw.
Or Spiral?
Then no, he did Spiral. So the one after, which brings it back to
Wait, there's one after Spiral?
Yeah. It's really
with
good.
Chris Rock?
No, without Chris Rock was
Chris Rock don't make
He was one and done. He was one and done.
Like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I liked the first Saw. I thought that was awesome. And then the second one was pretty cool, and you're in that house. And then, I don't know, like, they all bled together after that for me. Like, I couldn't decipher which one is which. Like, there was so many of them. Like, with the Hostels, the same thing, you know?
Well, Hostel 1 and 2, like, so Saw, I'm definitely a Saw apologist. So
apologies.
I'm going to say this. There's a beauty to the success that Saw 1 had, and every October they're like, okay, let's figure out how to extend it. So you figure these guys are employing so many people every year.
Well, God bless them on that.
You know what I mean?
No,
like they're
cool.
making these movies, and they still made it cohesive all the way through like 6 or 7, and then it's just like a lot of like the timeline. Them fucking with the timeline all through the series, it's what really kind of like holds it together, because it's cool. Like they do a bunch of shit that you would never think of, or things that aren't normally done in movies that make it non-linear, and you're like, okay, this is cool. But at the end of the day, you're just basically watching these death traps with a bunch of no-name actors
or soon to be big actors that show up later on.
Sure, I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean,
because
like,
everyone starts in horror.
Yeah, well, but like Danny Glover, like that was like the top of it. But then after that, once they got to like 4, 5, and 6, you're like, who the fuck are these people? And that's fine, because they were just going to die anyway.
Right.
So.
I never thought of it that way. You're right. The Saw movies did like employ a lot of people, because there was a lot of shit going on in those movies. Like a lot.
And they were good. They were like objectively, like for a horror movie, for fans like us, they were good. Like it's a good, like there's so many shitty fucking horror movies that make it to the theater, but this movie, you knew it was like an AC/DC album. It's like, is it rewriting like the book? No, but you know exactly that you're going to get something super solid every single time. You're like, we're going to get pure gore, we're going to get really cool ending, and it's going to continue.
Wow. AC/DC Saw. Yeah. AC/DC. Man.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about right now.
And it inspired, Cleaver from The Sopranos.
Whoa. I didn't think of that.
Shout out to Chris Maltasanti.
Yeah, no,
R.I.P.
Yeah, right? Dude, there's a lot of shout-outs to dead people.
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking dying.
Well, he died a while ago.
How long ago was that?
He died probably in season 6, so...
That's got to be 20 years ago?
Maybe 2000, I don't know. Late 2000s.
Everything's like 20 years old now, 25 years old. Yesterday, you know what yesterday was? Speaking because of the true crime enthusiast that I am, and I know these dates. Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman's murder.
Wow.
Imagine? 30 years ago. Insane. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, we lived it. And, it's funny, like, you're into that stuff. I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not at all.
See, that's why I didn't want to put you on the spot and give you, bring you on early, just in case, like, I have to tread lightly with that stuff.
I don't give a shit. I'll verbal ping pong with anyone. I bet.
But you're into horror, but you just don't like the real life horror stuff?
I just don't care. Like, I will wait for the Dateline episode. Like, I don't care what it takes. I don't care about the build-up.
Yeah.
Like, so even, like, the whatever's going on, like, on Long Island, it's like, I don't care. I'll just wait for, like, that 2022
Like, call you in a couple years?
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, because
you're going to wait. Definitely, it's going to be a couple of years.
But man. I get it, and it's just, it's a fascinating thing, because it's something that's so out of the realm for normal people that we can't comprehend that life. It's like it's so crazy. You're like, I can't even wrap my head around how you're doing what you're doing and then like living a normal life.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I get nervous just like, if I'm like gonna go through a red light. And this dude's driving around thinking about like, how many people he killed like all these years later. Shit, is it catching up to me? Like, how the fuck can you keep it cool?
Probably not. He's probably not even thinking about it.
No.
Eating
because
pizza,
they have like
throwing crust everywhere.
Right? Yeah. Not giving a shit. See, right there's the biggest crime of all. He didn't finish his pizza.
Yeah, who the fuck? I mean, and he's not like a skinny guy.
No.
Like, for him to throw
like,
out
who
a
are
crust.
You kidding?
Yeah. Like,
you're double dipping.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes I eat my girlfriend's crust.
Right? Me too.
Yeah.
That's the best, like, that's awesome. My kid gives me the crust. She knows.
Yeah.
Don't be Rex.
That's it.
So, switching gears a little bit. Now, you said, like, most of the movies that come into the the movies now, like horror-wise, are kind of shitty, but I feel like we've been treated in the last couple of months to really decent horror movies that have been in the theater.
Okay, that's a blanket statement, and I was probably being somewhat like ridiculous.
Maybe
especially now,
out of context.
Especially now, like everything is so fragmented. Like a movie being released. You could release a movie anywhere. It's just like it's like, oh, did you see this new movie on Freevee? And you're like, what the fuck is Freevee? But like now, there's so many different avenues. But the actual theatrical stuff. The fact that a movie like In a Violent Nature gets a theatrical is really cool.
Thank God you just pulled that up because that is on my list.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about that.
Sure.
In a Violent Nature, so for those of you that don't know, we'll give you a little brief. It's through the POV, which is the point of view of the killer throughout most of the movie. It's in the movie theater right now, and it's something like, I don't know, like I've never seen before, but I have. Like, there are elements in it that I've seen before, but not shot this way. Now, me and you talked about it through, like, DM or whatever, but I guess we can have, like, the discussion now.
We could have the two grown men discussion.
Right. So,
men unfilmed.
Right. Hated it. No, I really liked it. I thought it was very... like the cinematography was awesome. Some great kills. There was some supernatural aspect to it that I really did enjoy, and I also really I dug the main character. Like the main character, like I guess his name is Johnny. Yeah. So Johnny, like I like how they kind of made him kind of like a Jason type zombie,
I like how
killer.
you're dancing around kind of like a Jason character.
It's
really literally like
Jason.
Yeah.
It's Jason. There's a cool scene in it. I don't want to
Johnny.
Yeah, or Jason. Johnny. I don't want to give too much away from it, but there's a scene where I don't think this is... Like, I could talk about the toy car, right?
I mean, there's nothing you could... Aside from the ending, there's really nothing you can give away.
Yeah. So there's a part where Johnny finds this toy car, and he just sits there and plays with it. And it's just like it's pretty long. He's sitting there playing with it, right? And like, yeah, it's good 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And that's long screen time.
Everything was long screen time about it. So I'll tell you this.
That's one thing you didn't like about that.
No, I liked a lot of things about it, and this movie is for people like us, 100%. I can't imagine a casual
cinephiles,
but also like just people that grew up watching these movies. Because essentially, what somebody did was like, "Yo, what if we take Friday the 13th and we took out the music?" And we only had one camera angle behind the killer, and no one said shit, and it was really slow. And then it's almost like the raw footage of like a cameraman stuff, and being like, "Here, take this, and we'll release it," which is cool. Like
the Kane Hodder cam.
Yeah, like I sat there and like the first I watched it by myself. The first 5 minutes, I was like, "Oh, it's pretty cool," and then 20 minutes, I was like, "Man, I don't know if I love this." Because it felt tedious to watch, and then the next 30, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, and I'm like, okay, I just felt a lot of things watching it, and by the end, I love the ending. Because I just love the ending. I think we had that conversation. Yeah. So, but it's super violent. I think Steve Kostansky from Psycho Gorman, Astron 6 universe did the special effects. I'm pretty sure we had him on the podcast. Love that guy.
Yeah, I like Psycho Gorman.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
It was a fun time to talk to him. So, yeah, he did that. He did The Void. He did a lot of cool shit.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So the special effects are great, and it's just it's literally an art house film, only it's a slasher. That's basically what it is. Yeah. And I could see someone watching it and being like, this is the fucking worst movie I've ever seen in my life. But I could also see someone being like, oh my, like you remember in Back to School where like Tim, I forgot the guy, he's staring at the art picture, and he's like, oh my god, like just this picture, blah blah blah, and it's just like, yeah, I could picture someone just watching that movie and be like, oh, this is just like so elevated and amazing, and it's like.
I like mine, but I don't go waving it around parties.
That's true, yeah. Oh, you too?
You too. Clint.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, yeah, I guess The Violent Nature is the Clint of horror movies now.
It's way better than Skinamarink.
Yeah, and Skinamarink, you know what? For me, Skinamarink, any slower, it would have been backwards.
Yeah.
And really, like, I tried to do it again and I couldn't. Like, it was so rough to watch.
It's so bad. The only thing that I applaud is the fact that those guys made a movie that made a lot of money and it's that bad.
Yeah, that was, how many fucking, like, camera cuts were in there?
It's unwatchable. I think I
so
made it 20
crazy.
Minutes.
Oh, you didn't want to finish?
No, but trust me, I think I get the point.
So I was in a movie theater with 9 people, and there was me left when it ended. Everyone else walked out, and I was just like, I was already invested so much into it, and I'm like, all right, I got to see what happens, and I just sat there, and I'm like, what the fuck goes on?
You watched it in theaters? That's awesome.
I watched it in the theater.
I think that's the best way to do it. The popcorn.
Oh, it's the only way.
It's the only way, yeah.
Even though I finished probably my popcorn like 2 minutes into it, and then I have another 90 minutes of like the fuzziest, grainiest shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough watch.
Did you ever want to watch, like, first of all, people like us never walk out of a movie, but there's only like 3 times that I could think of almost walking out of a movie. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake
with Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, unbelievably fucking awful. Silent Hill, and
that's a rough one.
What was that one with the girl that rips her jaw off? The only good scene. Mirrors.
Okay.
Kiefer Sutherland. Like those 3 movies, like whoever I went with could have been like 30 minutes in and been like, let's leave, and I would have, because otherwise I just wouldn't. I can't.
I think I slept for definitely for Silent Hill. Definitely slept.
Yeah.
I don't think I finished it, but I definitely went to go see.
It takes
all
a lot.
Those. Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't think I ever walked out. I remember my old man took me to go see Pet Sematary, and when Gage got it with the truck, he wanted to walk out, and I begged him. I was like, "Please, Dad, stay."
What did he say to you, like in the theater?
He was
Nick,
like, "That's it. I had enough."
Nick, I've had enough of this shit.
I guess he just didn't like the whole kid getting hit by a Mack truck, which is understandable.
That's the best part.
No, that's great. It's awesome, but he wasn't a horror fan.
Yeah, that'll do it. You know what it is? When you kill a kid in a movie, I just know that you mean business, and I know that I can't like it's such a taboo thing that I almost know immediately that this movie is going to be just something that I love, because it's something you never do. Like when you ever see When Evil Lurks, you saw that movie, right?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, that was like the best horror movie of last year.
No, I didn't see it.
Argentinian movie.
No.
Oh my God, you got to watch it. Oh, so good.
Kids killed.
I mean, Yeah. I thought you saw it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'll watch
Tony,
it.
erase that.
Right? Race, rewind. So, yes, so in a Violent Nature, definitely go check it out. Now, the next movie that I wanted to talk about, too, for this year, which me and you, actually, I'm going to put both of these together. Late Night with the Devil and Lisa Frankenstein. To me, those are my number 1 and number 2 movies of the whole year so far.
Okay, yeah. So it has not been a great year for movies this year, and my 2 favorite movies are Lisa Frankenstein and Late Night with the Devil.
Same here.
And I'm going to throw in Snack Shack.
Snack Shack?
Yeah, that's like... so you ever see Dinner in America?
No.
Okay, so this guy made this movie called Dinner in America. It's absolutely fucking amazing and bonkers. Came out last year. It was my favorite movie of that year. It's up on Hulu, but Snack Shack is like a coming of age, like just like two teen buddies. It's like a comedy drama. It's like a summer hang, girls, beer, drugs. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll check that out, definitely. Yeah, so Lisa Frankenstein, we'll start light, and then we'll get into the Late Night with the Devil. But Lisa Frankenstein, it's written and directed, well, it's written by Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody, yeah.
And then directed by Zelda Williams, who is the daughter of the late, great Robin Williams. And this movie, to me, it just reminded me of like a Tim Burton if he directed Heathers type of movie. Totally 90s. It had this feel to it. I think it's going to be, to me, it's already an instant cult classic. I've already watched it a few times. Soundtrack's awesome. The story's cool. And it just gets better and better every time you see it. Again, it might not be for everyone, though, right?
Well, I watched it, and I loved it. And anything that starts off the way it does, I think it might have been like more 80s centric, and anything that starts off with When in Rome, The Promise.
That's a good tune.
Like immediately I'm like drawn to it, and then once I find out that it's like Robin Williams' daughter, I watched it with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend did not like it as much as I did, which blew me away. I was like, this movie's so good. She's like, it's all right. To me, it was like Serial Mom meets Weird Science.
That's like a cool, yeah. And I love both of those.
Yeah, just really cool. And I thought it was going to be kind of like, afraid to do certain things, but I think it definitely went a little far in certain things.
Oh, it pushed its PG-13 boundaries to the ultimate
I
max.
would never have known that was a PG-13 movie, yeah.
I didn't think so either. Like, I kind of went in blind to, and I took Zoe to it, and thank God some of the stuff went over her head because there was some like stuff in there. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have brought Zoe to this, but she talks about it all the time now too. She wants to watch it all the time. She's obsessed with the movie.
Yeah, and
she just loves the love story aspect of it.
It's a great love story.
Yeah.
But what did you watch as a kid? I was a kid of the mom and pop video store.
Me too.
So we were like renting. The bigger the box, the more grotesque. Like anything with Gorgon Video, like
dude,
I just remember my dad was like, let him rent whatever he wants, and I was like 8 or 9, and I'm like coming home with like pieces.
Yeah. Absolutely, Faces of Death.
Yeah, so Zoe's gonna be just fine.
She's fine. Yeah, she wasn't watching the stuff that I was watching. She wants to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night, and I'm like,
that's brutal.
Yeah, it's too much hairy man ass in that movie. I'm like, you can't see that yet, kid. Like, it's
that
too
movie,
much. Not alone. Like, I don't care about the killer Santa
it's not
Claus
even the
aspect.
violence. It's completely like the sexual stuff in there is like
it's vulgar.
It's pretty fucking for like hardened Neanderthals like us.
Yeah.
When I do the rewatch, I'm just like, this is pretty brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with it.
It's pretty uncomfortable to watch.
And I don't really, offend so easily.
Yeah.
So Lisa Frankenstein again,
Fantastic.
I could say that it's my number one.
I could see that, yeah, for sure.
But then all of a sudden, Late Night with the Devil came, and holy shit. Like, who directed this movie? I forget.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not somebody that's been around.
Yeah.
And he did this movie that's basically, it reminds me of that found footage movie. It was like the Halloween special type movie. I forget what it's called. But anyway, it takes place on Halloween 1977.
The British one or the other one?
No, the other one.
Like VW.
Yeah, WV. Yeah. WUHF.
So, yeah. Teaching poodles how to fly.
So it's basically about a guy that's like a talk show host that's kind of like his career's like on the downward swing, and he wants to up his ratings because he's like battling to get to the number one slot with the talk show hosts. So he decides to have a Halloween special and bring somebody that has been possessed by the devil, and they're going to have an interview with her live on screen. And so they have this all act played out or whatever, but then it looks like a TV show is actually being like run, but then in between when they go to break, it's like in black and white, so it's kind of like a behind the scenes thing. Like the movie starts off, this footage was found, so it's kind of like a found footage, but not really. It's not like like camcorder type.
No, it worked very well. I saw it in theaters. I think you did too, right?
Yes.
It could have gone like whenever you do a period piece like that, sometimes it just looks mad corny. Everything worked about it. It was like aesthetically gorgeous, and for old people like us, we remember like the talk shows. I remember like Johnny Carson and all that other stuff, David Letterman, even like Joe Franklin, which is probably more of what he was trying to do. And it just really worked. Like like the goofy sidekick, all like there was always a magician,
Right.
and then the audience, and just everything about it worked great. The satanic panic element that was brought into it. Yeah, I loved it. Home run.
Absolutely. Job well done. Like, I thought about that movie I still think about it, actually. Like,
and
couple
I hate
of days.
possession movies.
You do.
I
You did
do.
mention this to me the other day,
Yeah.
too. You said you only watched the original Exorcist recently.
I did. Yeah, I just don't give a fuck.
Really? Is it just like a religious thing, or is it
No,
just
no,
like
no.
you
I'm
just
as
don't-
atheist as they come. But like,
You just don't give a shit about that.
I just don't like. To me, like, I love slasher. I love home invasion. I love things like that. Like, when it comes to possession and stuff like that, it's like I don't. Maybe because I just find it so goofy.
No.
Like, just so not that anything else is believable, but it's even less believable. Like,
Yeah.
With the exception of certain things. Like, I loved the first Power, which we talked about.
Awesome.
With Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah. That
Well,
was
we're really digging up the classics on this show today.
That was that his follow up to La Bamba?
So that was probably 1989. No, he probably did something else. Maybe he did like disorganized crime in between.
Within a couple of years.
Yeah,
of La
absolutely.
Bamba.
2 years, I think.
Yeah.
I love The Omen 2 and I love The Omen 3. I love the.
Did you watch the first Omen yet?
No.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was. It's on Hulu right now. I went in with very low expectations, and I really enjoyed myself.
I'm going to tell you this. So last year, my friend that I do the podcast with, Brian Langan, maybe there was just miscommunication as to what we were going to watch. I thought we were going to watch the Exorcist remake. Or is that what it was? What
They
did he
had
do?
prequels.
No, but the one David Gordon Green made, was that like a...
Oh, yeah, the Exorcist.
So that was a sequel.
Yeah.
I thought that's what we were watching. When we sat down, I'm seeing like the footage in the beginning. I was like, I'm like, are we watching the original fucking Exorcist right now? He's like, yeah, dude. I'm like, wow. I'm like, all right, I guess this is my first time.
Was he shocked?
He was pretty shocked.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's shocking to hear. I mean, arguably, like in a lot of horror circles or whatever, The Exorcist is up there with talks of being the greatest horror movie of all time.
I get it. And when I watched it, I mean, that 90-minute build-up into anything was pretty fucking hard to stay awake through. But, and I get it. Like, in 73, I'm sure it was probably like, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe she said cunt or whatever she said.
Stabbing herself in the pussy.
But then, I don't know. Like, after that, same thing happened with Black Christmas when I watched it.
That's vulgar, too.
But I watched that movie at Nighthawk in Brooklyn, maybe like within the last 10 years.
Not so vulgar.
And I thought it was fucking boring.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Black Christmas, A Christmas Story, and
Yeah.
Porky's
Bob Clark.
are all with the same guy made.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Right?
I love it.
Talk about 3 different movies
Yeah.
that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Well, Black Christmas and Christmas Story, but like it's Christmas, but that's where the association ends.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty genius, that you could do that. That's a flex.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. I love Porky's.
Yeah,
Porky's is great, right?
I love all that stuff.
Raunchy.
Yeah.
That's speaking of like mom and pop video stores. That was a rental.
So Snack Shack is of that universe. It's very much like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I used to have a place around the corner from me called Star Video, and that's where my upbringing was with horror. Like my brother was, he still is. He's like almost 8 years older than I am, so he's the one that used to introduce me to
Yoda.
all the like. This fucked you up? Well, this one's going to be even worse.
That's a great 8 years. Like, is really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He blessed you with a bunch of shit.
Dude, shout at the devil. He let me listen to it for the first time. Ride the Lightning, Silent Night, Deadly Night. He showed the first horror movie that he showed me was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, like, fuck. Like, like Jaws, Cujo. Cujo, he said, oh, this movie's about a good, cute dog. Fucking destroyed my life, but it was cool, man. Like, thanks, brother. He showed me Phantasm. Like, Phantasm when you're, 7 or 8 years old. Fucking, I had to sleep on my parents' floor for like 2 months because I couldn't go into my room because I thought the fucking tall man was hanging up like in the back of my closet.
Yeah,
like,
that movie will melt your mind
right?
at an early age for sure.
Way ahead of its time.
Like, I watched the Phantasm stuff like later on in life.
Yeah.
I just didn't. Yeah, I don't know. There was no interest, and then once I watched it, I was like, "This is like fucking bizarre."
Yeah, very, very, very weird.
But yeah, it's great to have that Yoda. Like, I was the oldest of like 3 kids, so like I had to find everything.
So you were the Yoda.
Yeah, and like my parents loved shitty music and shit. Like everything that they loved was shit. So I had to like go find my own, stuff. Like they're like,
Sam, what's the matter? I am in a world of shit.
Yeah, they're like, you want to hear, I don't know, whatever they were listening to, disco or fucking watching like
booty time.
Yeah, like watching all that shit. Oh, well, that song's great.
Oh yeah, of course. Speaking of which, that was a little reference to one of our favorite movies of all time, and I can't believe it took us almost 40 minutes to get into that, but I feel like we could just go off, and maybe we shouldn't, but we have to.
Yeah.
Ford Fairlane, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Why there haven't been sequels made...
I know why.
Yeah, I know why. We all know why, but like it's really a modern masterpiece. I watched it the other night again. Who is Art Mooney? Is like Art Mooney like a character that they made up for that movie, or is it like a real? Do you know about Art Mooney, Tony?
No.
And that's Tony for the evening.
That's it.
Yeah, Art Mooney is just like this fictional character that's in this movie that Sam and I...
Sure, why not?
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Young Jamie.
Yeah, we... anytime we see each other in public, it's always we revert to the Art Mooneyisms.
Well, you know what it is? It's like it's a movie that no one ever brings up, right? It's a movie that most people never reference. So it's like wearing like a band shirt that no one listens to, and you're like, that's fucking cool. I fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
So that's what The Adventures of Ford Fairlane is. It's like a movie that no one gives a fuck about except like 3 people, and when we see each other,
party.
We bring it up and stuff. And it's directed by Rennie Harlan, who has a new movie out in theaters called The Strangers Chapter 1.
Yeah.
Same director that did Die Hard 2.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Cliffhanger. Yeah, he did a bunch of cool shit,
I like Cliffhanger.
I love Cliffhanger.
Right?
That is a slept-on Stallone movie.
It is. Well, you know what? The
Lithgow.
90s were weird for Stallone. He had some movies that were not questionable, but questionable, but people were shitting all over him, even more so, I feel, in the 90s.
Are you trying to tell me Oscar was not a good movie?
Questionable.
Okay. Marissa Tomei?
She's hot.
Yeah.
She's, she's probably the best part of Oscar.
All right.
Well, Lockup doesn't belong in there because what was that, 89?
89, yeah.
Yeah. Frank Leone.
Yeah.
ETA, that's good. 80s.
So the first bomb, those 2 guys, you take Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Oh, speaking of which, that was on my thing. So who are you going?
Okay, yes.
Arnold or Sly?
Oh, it's always going to be Stallone. I mean,
Thank
Schwarzenegger for me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. And it started with Commando.
All right, well, that wraps up our episode.
It started with Commando, man. And but those guys were neck and neck. And I remember my grandmother taking me to go see Cobra in 1986 because she loved Stallone. That was her guy. And so their first bombs, you remember what they were?
Was it Rhinestone?
No. Well, besides that, like once they got a little
like
success.
mainstream?
Yeah.
Mainstream bombs.
Schwarzenegger had one and Stallone had one around the same time.
Eraser?
No, that was great.
Good?
For Schwarzenegger, it was The Last Action Hero.
Was the bomb?
Yeah, that was like the first like box office disappointment.
Stopping my mom.
Yeah, and Stallone was stopping my mom.
And that's because of Schwarzenegger fucking made him do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Because he said to him, if you don't take it, I will.
Yeah.
And Stallone was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then it backfired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they both have documentaries now on Netflix.
Which are
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can't, like, the documentaries are so good. And, like, even those, like, are neck and neck, like, how good they are.
Yeah.
Arnold's is like a 3-parter, which goes through his whole life, his political thing, you know, the working out, and the movies. And then Stallone's is like 2 hours, but he really gets into his stuff about his dad, and you realize how fucked up his father was.
Yeah, that was like the arc of the story for sure.
It makes sense to like all his movies, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like holy shit, he's like saying like basically his father was always jealous of the success that he had, and he even like would never give him his like respect.
Yeah.
Sad. You know, here's a guy you look at like fucking Rocky and Rambo, you know, like you're looking at him like he's a god, and this documentary brings him down to like, you know, human, and that he has feelings, and that, you know, they're very deep rooted on how he was treated as a kid and growing up and everything, and it's very eye opening. I never saw that side of Stallone.
I think it worked out for him.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Of course.
Toughen this kid up.
Right. I wonder if he has like that that syndrome that like Mike Tyson had, you know, like you get into the ring and you knock out the bully that broke his pigeon's neck. Like every time he was in Rocky, maybe he's knocking out his father. Holy shit, Rocky 5.
Yeah.
The first guy that I ever knocked out was my old man. Like he says that in that movie. Maybe that was like really
sense.
Yeah. Shit.
It's when like when Nikki Sixx tells you that you know, On With the Show is about him. You're like, whoa.
I learned.
You're like, whoa.
Hell yeah.
Covered by the Get Up Kids.
And the Ataris.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Ataris did it first.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure it's not
good.
as good as the Get Up Kids.
It's okay.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. I like the
We'll open for you.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. All good. All right. Speaking of, that's a good segue into music. You know, Sam is a very talented musician. He's part of a great group called Playing Dead. We're actually going to play one of their songs right now. Tony, if you will, this is How Are You?
Sure.
How Are You by Playing Dead.
Hang on. Stall.
Stall? Bathroom stall? Tony, what told me about after the show in the bathroom stall, not now.
He did.
You all right?
Yeah,
Price is Right music.
Is it playing? If I send you... Sorry, kids. You know what happens on the shows? Sometimes we do have technical difficulties, but that's okay because we are professionals here, and we're going to work our way through this right now.
hang on.
There it is.
I'll start it over. Sorry about that.
I knew that voice.
Here.
Here we go.
How are you? It's been way too long since we have heard your voice. Time goes by faster than you think, faster than we would like. And when you leave, it's never fair. Never have a chance to share. Never hear your voice walking through that door anymore. And when they call, take the time, let them know that you are fine. 'Cause today is here, tomorrow will likely come, but not for everyone. Remember when we'd stay out all night, waiting for the trouble to begin. Enough about me, just tell me what you've been up to, 'cause we would like to know. And when you leave, it's never fair. Never have a chance to share. Never hear your voice walking through that door anymore. And when they call, just take the time, let them know that you are fine. 'Cause today is here, tomorrow will likely come, but not for everyone. Say you wanted to call, but then you never did call. And you wanted to go, but then you never did go. And you start to realize you can never rewind. So take the minute, take that minute. Say you wanted to call, but then you never did call. And you wanted to go, but then you never did go. And you start to realize you can never rewind. So take that minute to call. 'Cause tomorrow may never come at all.
WNBC.
Too good not to do.
Yes, no, that was How Are You by Playing Dead. And I reached out to Sam when I first heard that song, and it's just like one of those tunes that's very relatable to me. I feel like it's very relatable to a lot of people. I don't know. It must have come from like a really personal place when you wrote that. You wrote that song?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You wrote the lyrics and everything. Like you're the lyricist.
I'm that. Yeah, for sure.
You're the head chef.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that it's about just catching up with someone. It's written specifically about somebody that I grew up with that passed away like 2 years ago of a heart attack at 49. And it was just like, holy shit. I'm like, this guy was somebody that I looked up to forever. Like, he was just the man. And I just couldn't believe, that I couldn't text or call my friend anymore. And so, I just wrote a song about it. And I, tried to keep it as vague as possible because you want everyone to have their own way with it,
Yeah, no, when I reached out, it made me think about my little brother Keith. You can't take for granted all the times that you had that you don't have anymore, that you can't, like you said, you wish you could text, you wish you could just reach out and laugh one more time and stuff. And I feel like everyone, not to, bring down the meaning of the song, but I feel like a lot of people can see themselves in that situation, and it's a beautiful song, man. I really dig it, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
When when I first listened to that EP, every song on that album is pretty solid, but that one really stuck out. So what is like the writing process for Playing Dead? Like you sit down like in the studio with everyone, or you're writing acoustic? Like how does that go?
Yeah, I usually just sit at home and backlog like a ton of songs, like I'm always stacked with about 20 new songs to go at any time, and little by little I just bring them into practice, and so I bring them like the black and white drawing, and from there we do the color at practice, and people, it's like everyone adds in their parts, but yeah, like I write everything at home.
That's cool. And how long you guys been playing for together?
So the name, we were told to change our name many times because it's been like 10 different bands. So it's like, a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, but a few years ago, a friend of mine was like, you guys should really change your name because I feel like more newer people will pay attention to it. He's got a pretty big like music job, so he was giving me some advice on as far as that's concerned, and I'm, when it comes to stuff like that, it's like, what am I really trying to achieve? Like, I'm not going on tour. I'm not, like, what am I doing? I'm just basically writing songs. So I'm like, I don't really want to change the name of the band. So we've been playing for a very long time with this current lineup, maybe probably 2018. So.
All right. Yeah, I could relate to that too, because a lot of people tell me that maybe you should change the name to DemonScar, because DemonScar sounds like a total like death metal, kill your mother, kill your father type of band, which we are, but I mean it's in a different way.
It's a lot more than that, to be honest with you. Yeah. When I heard it, I was like definitely a little surprised by a lot, like the range.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, we didn't want to change the name either, so I like your name.
Yeah, unfortunately, we share it with a Grateful Dead tribute band, and it's one of the worst parts of my life, to be honest with you. Because it just reminds me that there's a band. Like I'm just thinking, like, just if you go on our Instagram for 1 second, you'll know that we don't play covers. Like you'll hit any fucking video on our page and you'll know. We played in Brooklyn like a year ago, and we were outside before the show started, and two people rolled up on a bicycle, and they started talking to my drummer on the corner. I'm like in the middle of the block, and then our drummer walks over. He's like, those guys just came wondering if the Grateful Dead tribute band was playing. And I was like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? He told me that they came from fucking Jersey.
On a bike?
And they drove from Jersey. They parked their car at the bridge, and then they rode their bikes to Greenpoint. And then they got to the show, and they found out that we're not a trip. And I'm thinking, like, who does that?
Hippies from Jersey.
I guess so. Like, anyone else on the fucking flyer that you could just be like, oh, who the, like Morning Fuzz? Never heard of them or something, Shout out to Morning Fuzz. Those are my boys. I don't remember who was on that show. I think they were playing that show.
That's so funny. My old band Hollow, we used to get mistaken for a band named Hollow in Jersey, and we're like, no, we're not them. But then after a while, I'd be like, yeah, we're them, because like people would say, like, yo, we've been listening to you since like the 90s.
Yes,
but you're different now. And I'm like, yeah, we are.
Yo, I got another one, right? So we played O'Brien's in Quorum a while ago, and our music sounds nothing like Body Count, but I sound check with There Goes the Neighborhood, that riff, because it rules. And before we started playing, I'm like, hey, we're Body Count. And we play, right? And we play the set. And then afterwards, I'm outside somewhere. And some kid's like, yo, I fucking loved your band. And I was trying to follow you guys. But every time I look you guys up, there's only this band with Ice-T in it. I was like, oh, shit. I was just kidding. I'm like, we're not Body Count. We're Playing Dead.
Oh, that's hysterical. I love that song too, man. There goes the neighborhood.
But listen, awesome. Most band names suck.
Yeah, they do. Well, since you did say that, dude, you're like reading off my thing right here.
Yeah.
You said Ice-T, so now I have what? Ice-T or Ice Cube?
Oh, Ice Cube, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The first 4 Ice Cube records are as good as anything ever.
So like Death Certificate,
Predator, Kill It Will, and America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, those are good.
Brutal, like just pure brutality. As metal and as hardcore as hip hop music can get with the production and like the vocal stylings. I love Ice-T, Original Gangster, Home Invasion, but aside from those two, yeah, he doesn't have what Ice Cube has.
Yeah, no, those first 4 are great. Yeah, I remember those albums, man. I remember
I
growing
can't
up.
believe you. Like, what a random thing to ask me after I bring up Body Count. Like, you had it written down. What are the chances?
I don't know. It's weird.
Am I that predictable?
No. I just thought that it would raise
burrito
some
or
fun.
pizza.
Right. No, that's not on here. So we already got
Both.
Ice Cube, Ice Cube, Arnold or Sly. So you went Arnold.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a three-er. Diamond Dave or Sammy Hagar or Van Sharon.
Oh, so I'm not a big Van Halen guy. And the only Van Halen record that I bought and ever owned was for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Yes. So you're
because
gonna
of Pound Cake, so
yourselves?
I'm going to go Sammy, yeah.
Yes. Hell yeah.
I'm like, did this guy just have like a screw, like a nail gun? Or what do you have? Like a power? No, a power drill.
Power drill.
Yeah.
That's a great album. That's the first time I ever saw Van Halen. Was on that tour.
We're of that age.
And Alice in Chains opened up.
Yeah, I remember.
And that was
Tony was there.
quite at the Coliseum.
I was there.
Right? Not many people were in there for Alice in Chains either. Right. My father took me, and that's like when Man in the Box, they were doing that, like Facelift.
Definitely, because, that was the time, because I think for Unlawful was like 90.
91.
Was it 91?
Yep.
And then, so Dirt was 92, so they were still rocking Facelift and maybe Sap, and then Jar of Flies after.
Yeah, so it was really a heavy set on. They weren't on that long, but that was my one and only with them. I got to see Alice in Chains. I love Alice in Chains. Like one of those great bands, man. It's a shame. Freddie or Jason or Michael?
Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
Best Wu-Tang member solo record?
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. So
Some great ones.
It's always going to go between Raekwon's Cuban Link and Ghost's Iron Man. Those are, it's always going to go back and forth. But for me, it's going to be Only Built for Cuban Links. Raekwon, I think, is just I loved, man, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, there's some great ones. I love Liquid Swords.
I love them all.
Yeah, I do too.
I love them all, but like
for their own reasons.
When it comes to original solo Wu-Tang output, Only Built for Cuban Links is the one.
I feel like some of those records outshine some of their other stuff too.
Without a doubt. The first, Enter the 36 Chambers is just a classic front to back, and then they did what Guns N' Roses did and all these other bands where it's like, hey, we're going to make a double album. And it's like, why?
The Kiss of Death.
Yeah, why are you doing that? Just make one killer album and it would have been amazing. Because, like, the double album has great songs, but you could have just, just like Use Your Illusion.
Stretch it out.
Choose Your Illusion.
Choose Your Illusion.
You could have, you could have just made that
They
one
made
album.
one big album, but then, like, There could have been a lot of B-sides, too, off of Use Your Illusions. There are a lot of B-sides, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, apparently there were. I didn't really... Somebody just mentioned this to me, but I had no idea, to be honest with you. I think by like 90... I think by that time, I think I was already kind of like leaving that universe.
Yeah.
And going into like the Sonic Youth universe and like that stuff, Dinosaur Jr. But, yeah. But I still liked those... Appetite is Appetite. But
Did you like Lies?
I did. I love Lies.
Yeah, I love the live stuff on that, like the.
Oh yeah, for sure. But when you go back to Use Your Illusions, like there's a lot of awful songs. Like
My World,
Get in the Ring, Like it's just
cringy,
unlistenable.
Yeah,
but then you have 14 Years, You Ain't the First, Civil War, things like
Breakdown.
that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, there's some good ones on there, man.
But Raekwon.
Marry, fuck, or kill. Kim, Chloe, or Kylie.
Oh wow, I don't even know. So Kim, Chloe. I don't even know what the other two look like.
Neither do I.
Kim, Chloe. Kim, Chloe. What is the other one?
Or Kylie.
Kylie's the Jenner girl.
Yeah.
She looks very skinny, so that's not for me. We'll kill her. Chloe. Is she the tall one?
Yes.
Okay, so marry her, I guess, and fuck Kim.
Very good.
Yeah.
Bill Burr or Louis C.K.?
Oh, good one.
Right? I think that's my most brainiac thing I did on this night.
I think Burr.
Yes.
Yeah, Burr's just very both are very funny, but Burr's a little extra funnier.
I love his interviews.
Yeah,
When
super smart.
He's very smart, and I like his. I just like the way he tells stories, man. I mean, he incorporates that too in his stand-up, but
the Red Rock thing that he put out 2 years ago was masterful.
Fantastic. Yeah. I was watching. I don't know which one it is. And he's talking about playing in India, and he was talking about how bad it was in that third world country, how he was playing, and he was saying that it was so fucked up that he saw a toddler take a shit in the street, and then all of a sudden he bled into the crowd and disappeared like Hannibal Lecter at the end of Silence of the Lambs. I'm sitting there fucking laughing hysterical. I'm like, oh my god.
That story has everything. You know, once you throw in a shitting story in there,
Right, you
a
got me
horror
in
movie
shit.
reference, it's
I think that was targeted at me.
yeah, he was checking all the boxes for people like us.
Oh my god, so funny, man. And he that whole thing where he attacks the crowd in Philly.
Yep.
Is fucking epic. And it's not taking away anything from Louis C.K. I think Louis C.K. is great.
Yeah. I love
saw
him
Lucky
here.
Louie.
I
You
saw
did?
he played here. God, who did he play with? Maybe Ian? No, that was so I saw Attell and Ian here. Fidance. I don't know who Louis played with, but I saw him work out some material here.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Lucky Louie. That was canceled off of HBO. I thought that was very funny, that show. He got his acclaim for Louie, the show,
Yeah.
I guess. But Lucky Louie was just so ridiculous. Did you ever watch that show?
I never did. No, I've never seen any of his shows.
So he there's an episode, and he's talking about. So what happens is he's hungover, and the wife goes to work. So he has to watch the kid, but he pawns the kid off on his neighbors, and the neighbors are going to church, and they don't raise the kid Catholic or anything or into church. So the kid goes and she comes home and she's like, "Daddy, I'm scared about church. We got to give Jesus Band-Aids," and she's freaking out. So now she's like, "Louie, you asshole. You brought the kid. You let the kid go to church. We never raised her this way. We're going to have to start going now to figure what's going on." So then all of a sudden they start going to church, and he becomes obsessed with the confessional booth.
Yeah.
So every night he disappears from the house and he's going to confession. So he does it a couple of times and he's like, "That's it. I just say some prayers and I'm absolved of all my sins." So there's a scene where it cuts where he's in the confessional booth, and he's like, Father, I have this reoccurring nightmare every once in a while where I'm walking through the corridors of hell, and all of a sudden this demon comes out of nowhere and goes, suck my dick. So, I'm there, I start sucking his dick, and then all of a sudden this other demon comes out, and he goes, hey, what are you doing sucking dick in the hallway of hell? There's plenty of dick to suck once you get to hell. You can't be doing that out here freelance.
That sounds like my kind of show.
Again, they lured me in with dick jokes and devil talk. And
I love it.
So, yeah.
Anything to do with the devil and dicks, I'm in.
Devil, dick, and good time.
That's it. The old devil dog.
Right, exactly. So, all right, we're going to just wrap this up. There's this one thing that I did want to ask you about, because I know recently you did go see Sebastian Bach.
I did.
And what do you think of the new lineup that they have Lizzie from Hailstorm filling in? You think they should stick with her or try to get another?
This is like one of those things, like when you watch like Entertainment Tonight and some guy's like walking the red carpet and they're like, what do you think about this? And he's like, what are we talking about? I really have no opinion on it. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess they could. I haven't heard. I don't even know who Lizzie Hale. Like, I know the band Hailstorm.
Yeah.
I don't know. She could be sitting behind Tony and I wouldn't know who she was.
Nah, she's not there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if you have a band, you could do whatever you want. You should. They could have whoever they want. And it's up to the audience to go see them or not.
He must be really hard to fucking deal with if they didn't go back to him after all these years.
I'm gonna basically guess from all his Stern Show appearances and he seems like he's constantly shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
So I could. Plus he was on. Remember making the no
Supergroup or whatever.
Supergroup, yeah,
Democracy.
Savage animal, savage. Oh my god, like he just seems like a handful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's very good at what he does.
Yeah, he's awesome. Those fucking first Skid Row albums.
Those first two Skid Row records, regardless of like how later on I went into like super heavy on hip hop, super heavy on alternative rock, indie rock. Everything from Wilco to Wu-Tang to like everything that I listen to, I will always go back and cite those first two Skid Row records because they're fucking fantastic.
Yeah, they are.
Can't stand the heartache, making a mess on that first album, In a Darkened Room, Quicksand Jesus on the set. Like it's just fucking fantastic songwriting. So when he played the Patchogue Theater, I was like, I'm gonna go see Sebastian Bach. So.
It was good, right?
It was fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I had the opportunity to open up for him about 15 years ago, and he was really a nice
Crazy
guy.
Donkey?
No, at the Mulcahy's.
Okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome, too. He was a nice guy, man. He, took pictures with us and stuff, and...
Did he tie his dick in a knot?
He did not.
All right.
He did not.
All right.
So, all right. Plug-in stuff. I got to do some plugs, but before that, do you have anything you'd like to plug right now for upcoming events or things?
Yeah, so we have a show. I don't know. Just go to our Instagram.
I think next week in Beery's, right?
No.
Yeah, aren't you playing solo?
Oh, I can't do that. I'm out of that one.
Breaking news on
so Primal. It's funny, like my girlfriend it's like I should like make a schedule. I never do. And sometimes people ask me to do shit and I'm like, yeah, I think I could do that. And I told my girlfriend, and her birthday is July 1st.
Oh.
And she's like, that's my birthday weekend. And to me, I don't give a fuck about birthdays. To me, what I do on my birthday, I could do 364 other days. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's your birthday, but to me, it's just a fucking Monday. So, but
it's Thanksgiving. No, to me, it's just Thursday.
Yeah. So, like, she's like, you can't. I was like, okay, no problem. I totally should have. She wanted to do something that Saturday, so I'm out of that one. But the rest is like, go to Playing Dead NY on Instagram, and then follow us on Spotify or whatever and shit, and listen to Red River Podcast.
definitely do that because those are both top shelf things for me. I follow both, and I enjoy playing dead. So, Beeries, Mr. Beeries, they are the official sponsor of the Primal Scream Podcast.
Hell yeah.
And they have something going on almost every night of the week. Monday nights is Monday Okay with Kevin Mundy. Tuesday is Bring Your Own Vinyl, which they play a side of a vinyl. And then I don't know what they do with the other side, but you just got to choose A or B. Wednesday for the month of June, and I think this is actually the whole summer, every Wednesday, Let It Bleed, the Stones tribute band, plays there. And it's probably the economical choice of the summer if you're going to spend $5,000 to go see the Stones, the real Stones, or $10 at Mr. Beery's for Let It Bleed.
Close your eyes.
Yeah. Thursday, they have the best open mic night sponsored by Murphy's Music. So go test your new material there. It's always good. The good sound brought to you by Murphy's Music. And there is no Friday show, but they have a great happy hour. So go over there and say hi to Julia for me. And on Saturday, Bully Wins, Nebulous, and Mine Empire are going to be playing. So go and check that out. Now, on June 22nd, I have a solo gig at Bar Frida with Fury, Trey LB, Dr. Giggles, Lex the Hexmaster, Jay Colombo, and Jay Cruz. That's going to be at Bar Frida in Queens.
Place is awesome.
Yeah, I've never been there. It's cool.
I played there twice, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to go there. I've played a couple of gigs now with Fury. He's a cool dude, and I appreciate him bringing me along for that. Now, for everyone that's been asking, DemonScar has booked a Long Island show. Woo! Can't wait. Yay! July 14th. We have just been added to Poppy Palooza 2 at the Old Town Gardens in East Setauket. Frequency Overload, Black Dawn, Electrocutioner, Synthetic Fist, The Opioids, and us, DemonScar. It's
Flyer says the 13th.
the 13th?
That's what this flyer says.
Yeah, so it is the 13th.
Yeah, the 14th is a Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it's a Saturday, the 13th then. Okay, thank you for that, Tony. So that's why I need Tony for these moments where I fuck up. It's an all-day event, and they have all ages, kids' activities. Louis Menga, he's the host and the MC. There's a beer garden there, too. I'm sure the kids are not going to be added to that, but the food and trucks. Yeah, there's fun for everyone. So bring little Johnny and Susie down and say hi to us. Say hi to the boys in DemonScar. I'm probably going to bring down my daughter, so that'll be fun. August 30th through the 1st at the Jewel Music Center in New Hampshire. I've been added to Lethal Weekend. There are a lot. It's a stacked show. I believe on Friday night, Cottonmouth Kings are headlining. Second night, Ron Killings, who's R-Truth from WWE, will be playing. And then on Sunday, Fury, Lex the Hex, me, Dr. Giggles. Stacked lineup. You got to go check it out. Lethal Weekend, I believe number 7, will be kicking off on the August 30th through the 1st. And, yes, I believe that's it.
Cool. Shout out to Mr. Beeries, man.
Right?
Yeah, that's...
He keeps it real over there.
He is... Steve Beeries is a gem, and I hope that bar stays open for the next 100 years.
Absolutely. He gives places a good place and a good venue for guys like us that keep the original music spirit alive. And he's a nice guy. And, yes, definitely
He's
a shout
about
out to
that
him.
life.
Yeah. Everyone's cool that goes there and hangs out, and the bartenders are all top-notch. So it's always a fun time, and you just don't know who else you're going to run into when you're there.
You see that? You got a viewer from the UK watching over there.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, that's what it says there. What is it? Smoothie Doodles?
Smoothie Doodles. Hello from the UK. That's cool.
Very cool.
Excellent.
tried.
Right.
I tried not to stare up there.
Yeah, I know, because I don't want to look at myself. Then
Yeah,
I'd be
me
like
neither.
disgusted.
I'm really, definitely repulsed.
What part of the UK, Doodles, are you from?
Doodles.
Is that what it is? Smoothie? I can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Smoothie
Smoothie
Doodles.
Doodles.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, this got all the way out to the UK. Well, thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. If you want to say where you're from in the next 10 seconds, that'd be great. If not, send me a DM on anywhere. But I appreciate you tuning in. That's pretty awesome. Cool. Got all the way over there, Tony, tonight. That's awesome. We going across the pond, kiddies. Oh, the Southwest. Okay, cool. Awesome. Do you follow DemonScar too, or are you just following the podcast? Do you follow Sam and Playing Dead? What brings you to these parts of the water? Is he a Gilgo enthusiast? Who knows?
So
That's cool.
glad I didn't look up till. I'm like, what is that? God damn. Are we done?
Yeah.
Did we sign off, right?
Yeah, so kiddies, thanks a lot so much. This is another episode of Primal Scream. I'm Nick Greystone. Thank you, Sam, for coming down. Thank you, Tony, for producing me again. And see you next time. Later.
Thank you for listening to Primal Scream. I'm Nick Greystone, a.k.a. The Nizza. Each week, Primal Scream is produced by Tony Walker and executive produced by DemonScar. Always remember, nobody writes your story but you. Later.